much everyone for joining us. I'm just going to share my screen so you're kind of aware of what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so we're here this morning to talk you through the awareness raising campaign, which is our Scaling Modern Cooking in Tanzania project. Got an agenda for this morning, which doesn't, there we go. So what I'd like to do is introduce you to the team and to the MECS programme generally. We'd like to give you then an overview of the programme in Tanzania, and in particular, can you all switch your mics off, please? Thank you. So in particular, the National eCooking Awareness Raising Campaign, which is kind of what we're going to talk predominantly about this morning. Then the MECS programme in Tanzania. And then there'll be some kind of admin focus. So looking at how you apply using the Delta e-sourcing system. We'll look at a few key dates, and then at the end, there'll be time available for questions. So the Modern Energy Cooking Services Programme, or MECS, is an 8-year funded UK aid programme. So we started in 2018 and we finish in March 2026. So we're based in the UK at Loughborough University, and I'm based at Loughborough University. My name's Jane Spencer. My colleague Anna will kind of talk you through the programme, and she's our partner organisation and co-organiser of MECS based in Reading. The purpose of MECS is to accelerate the transition to modern cooking fuels, and we focus on e-cooking predominantly, but also biogas, bioethanol, and bio-LPG. So our focus is very much away from fossil fuels. And we undertake research and support for the transition of enabling environments. So we look at supply chains and consumer behaviour towards modern cooking. Okay, and I'm going to hand over to Anna now, and Anna's going to kind of take you through the kind of main body of the programme. Anna?
Thanks, Jane. Hi, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon. If I could ask everyone to just kindly mute their microphone, that would be really helpful to us. Thank you. Thanks very much. Right, so the eCooking Scale and Support Programme that we have in Tanzania, we have just started this programme. It's running until January 2026. £3.5 million of funding across 6 different component areas. And it's designed to support the implementation of the Tanzania National Clean Cooking Strategy. And with this, we're working very closely in collaboration with the Ministry of Energy. And key themes for this programme are awareness, access to materials and infrastructure, affordability, policy development, investment, and capacity building. So next slide, please, Jane. So the primary objective of the programme is to support Tanzania to leverage expenditure and gains in electricity access to progress clean cooking through supporting electric cooking or e-cooking. And one of the components of this programme, which we're going to talk about today, which this webinar is about, is the National e-Cooking Awareness Raising Campaign. Next slide, great. So this National Awareness Raising Campaign, many Tanzanians lack the knowledge that electric cooking or e-cooking is viable, that it's affordable, that it's convenient, and that you can actually cook most Tanzanian foods on these highly efficient modern cooking appliances. The Ministry of Energy is working very closely, on a national clean cooking communication strategy and associated plan. And the MECS National e-Cooking Awareness Raising Campaign that we're talking about here will align with this, and the ministry has endorsed it. So the campaign will be professionally researched and designed to create assets, marketing assets, campaign assets that are suitable to Tanzania and to Tanzanians. And the aim of this is to understand the awareness and messaging required to increase the uptake of e-cooking and then to use that understanding to design a successful awareness raising campaign. So we envisage that this campaign will use a variety of dissemination channels, and that will depend on what will be most effective, which is determined by the work done. And the campaign needs to target at least 10% of the population of Tanzania. Thank you, Jane. Next slide. So there's a phased approach to the activities. I'm sorry, if I could just ask everyone to mute themselves, mute their microphone, that would be really helpful. Getting some feedback. Everyone can just mute their microphone. Thank you very much. Great. So there'll be a phased approach to the activities, which you'll have read about in the terms of reference. So the first phase is a landscaping or marketing study to understand the messaging and the platforms that are best suited to achieve high awareness. The second stage is to design and do the content creation of all the assets, ready for the third stage, which is actual implementation of the campaign. As part of this, we also ask for data collection to feedback on how well the messaging worked, how well the different assets worked, which channels worked best, and any recommendations for future awareness raising programs so that we can learn. And as I said before, but just to emphasize that this campaign will need to align with the Tanzania National Clean Cooking Communication Strategy, together with its awareness raising, sensitization and behavioral plan. And this is due to be launched in August 2024. Thanks, Jane. So eligibility is preferably a Tanzanian organization, and it can be any qualified organization or organizations that can deliver all aspects of the campaign. So those three different phases, and consortiums are welcomed in that respect. The budget and timeline details are that it's 16 months with the start in September 2024 to December 2025. The total budget is not to exceed £400,000. And the response that you make to the terms of reference should show an indicative split between the different stages, between those three stages that I described. So, great, thanks, Jane. So, as I said, this National eCooking Awareness Campaign is one component out of 6 of the wider programme in Tanzania. And as you can see here, the 6 components are listed. So I'm going to run through these quickly to give you an idea of what the wider MECS programme is, but we've been focusing on the National eCooking Awareness Campaign. So I don't need to talk about that again. The second component of our work in Tanzania is the TANESCO eCooking programme. So targeting 11,000 households. TANESCO will be supporting grid-connected staff and customers to adopt eCooking appliances. They'll be making it possible to pay for these appliances through the LUCO meters, through the prepayment meters. So that deals with some of the affordability challenges. And they'll also be looking to train and raise awareness and capacity build to create electric cooking champions from TANESCO staff. And the National Awareness Raising Campaign will complement these activities. Thanks, Jane. The third component is about institutional electric cooking. So the World Food Programme and Sustainable Energy for All are partnering to bring modern cooking to schools, looking initially at 60 schools, then 200 schools, and they've actually looked at, they're hoping to expand to 5,000 schools in Tanzania and then further into other countries in the expansion phase. So there's also an institutional e-cooking component of our work there. Component number 4, repair and maintenance, will be supporting the capacity building for repair and maintenance of electric cooking appliances by building a network of fundies so that customers can easily access qualified people for the maintenance and repair of the appliances, and designing a training curriculum to do that, working with the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology and other organisations to integrate that curriculum into existing training. The fifth component is about supporting the supply chain. It is a challenge fund program to support local companies to overcome early stage growth challenges to supply eCooking appliances, and also to understand the acceptability and affordability of eCooking appliances and evaluate the impact of cooking with electric cooking. And finally, the sixth component is on quality and standards, and we'll be working with the EU, UNDP, and the Tanzanian Bureau of Standards to develop minimum energy performance standards for eCooking appliances. So those are the six components of the whole programme. We're talking here more specifically about the awareness raising campaign, but it's important that you also know that it fits into this wider suite of activities. So now I'll hand back to Jane, who will talk about how to apply and kind of the admin side and the logistics side of that. Thanks, Jane.
Thanks, Anna. So hopefully that's given you a little bit more of an insight into the programme and how it fits into the kind of wider body of work that we're undertaking into Tanzania. Because of the value of this programme, and because it's kind of tendered from a UK organisation, we have to follow the Delta e-sourcing platform, which is a procurement platform for all kind of large tenders that run out of the UK. So you will need to apply and kind of look at the tender information. All of the associated documentation for this tender are on the Delta e-sourcing platform. So if you haven't used Delta before, you need to register as a supplier. And this is the kind of first screen that you get to. You need to put in your username. That could just be your name. And then either you've got a password that you've used previously, or you go to the register as supplier page. This will bring you to this page where there's probably about 20 boxes, more contact information and details about your organisation. And then at the bottom of the page, you will be asked to input the access code. So this access code is essential to get you to the right tender. So we'll kind of post it into the chat. You can find it on our website as well, but please feel free to take it from here too. So this will take you to our Authenticator app setup page. So if you haven't already done this before, you'll need to download either the Google or the Microsoft Authenticator app. And that's free. It takes a couple of minutes for you to download. If you haven't done it before, this kind of stage of the process will slow you down a little bit. The one thing you need to do is make sure that the device time, so the time on either your computer or laptop and the time on your phone are in sync, because you get a time-based code that's generated. If that's out of sync, you won't be able to kind of connect. And then you'll get a QR code that will allow you then to access Delta. There'll be a number of backup codes that will be listed at the bottom of the page. Take a photo of those because they won't be displayed again. And if you save your trusted device, i.e. your mobile phone, it then reduces the process when you log in future. So then this takes you to the kind of main Delta page, which lists the opportunities. So you need to go into the new page as a response manager, and that's where you'll submit your access code. So stage one is an overview of the process. So in there, you'll find a number of documents that highlight the process that we will use. So there's the tender document that kind of highlights this opportunity and what we're looking for from an organisation and from a programme perspective. We're also obliged to do a due diligence and safeguarding questionnaire from any new suppliers. So if you haven't worked with Loughborough University before, we would ask that you review that document and complete it at the same time that you submit your proposal for the tender. There's also a subcontract agreement and a grant disbursement agreement, and this is our kind of general terms and conditions. I'd ask you to have a look at the grant disbursement agreement. You need to kind of sign to say that you've read this document, because they are our standard terms and we don't really change them. In addition, there's two response documents. So there's the quality answers and then there's the price. Stage 2 allows you to then upload your response documents and associated documents. Within each of those response documents, it gives an indication of the maximum number of pages that you can submit. Please adhere to that. It kind of makes our job easier when we're reviewing it, and also ensures that kind of the information you're giving us is what we want. The due diligence questionnaire does require quite a number of documents to be attached with it, so that doesn't fall within the maximum number of documents that you can submit with the tender application. And then stage 3 is when you submit your response. So a number of key points. Once you've registered and authenticated, save your device, because then it'll save you time when you're logging in future. The access code is kind of that listed here, so 456 WD 875Y5. If you have any questions or queries when you're in Delta, please hit the message center button and it will allow them to go direct to the Delta website. We've had quite a few queries from people not being able to access Delta, so we'll put the help desk email, because it's not kind of managed by Loughborough University. We're not able to kind of support with helping access. So if I put that in the chat, you'll be able to access that if and when you need it. Only applications made through the Delta portal will be accepted, and only those applications made on the response forms will be kind of reviewed. As I mentioned previously, due diligence and supporting evidence is required at the same time. It does look quite onerous. Once you start going through it, it's not too bad. But if you have any questions, please email the MECS email address. And then, as mentioned before, do have a look at the grant disbursement agreement terms. So the key dates for this tender: the closing date for the applications are the 14th of August, that's a Wednesday, at 11:59 British Summer Time. We won't be looking at any late applications. Evaluations will take place the following week, and if needs be, interviews will occur the week after that. We anticipate a contract start date of the 16th of September and a completion of the 31st of December 2025, and that kind of falls in with that 16-month timeline that Anna mentioned earlier. Right, I hope that's all been clear, but if you've got any questions, now's the time to ask. So please feel free to either put them in the chat or kind of unmute and ask them aloud. Thank you.
Hello?
Hello? Is that Manuel?
I'm fine.
Oh, good, Victor. Yes. Hi.
Hi. I was asking about the date for submission.
Oh, God, Victor, I think...
Sorry, can you hear me now?
That's better. Yes, thank you. You were asking about submission.
Yes, I was passing through the documents. We were passing through the document of the tender, and we saw it was written that the deadline for submission is 29th of July, this July. While on your website, you've written it's 14th, as we've explained here prior. So we're failing to know which one should we consider, the 29th of July or the 14th of August?
So we have two tenders that are live at the moment. One is the Partnership Liaison Lead role, which is the 29th of July. And that role is more of a communications and support role for the 6 programmes that Anna outlined. This role is for the awareness raising, and that is the 14th of August. So there are two separate tenders with 2 different dates.
Okay, now we understand.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, please. This is Peter speaking. Thank you for your time and presentation. So mine is on the GDA, Grant Disbursement Agreement. So I'm just curious to understand if the terms within the agreement are negotiable, or we just need to, we must accept them as they are. Thank you.
So it very much depends on what your query is, Peter. Any major changes we won't consider, so we can kind of negotiate on kind of payment terms and dates, but any other queries tend not to be approved. So there's standard terms that we need to abide by that are flowed down from UK aid. So we do ask that you, if you can, that you accept them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me.
Hi.
Yes, my name is Mercy, and I was just asking, especially in terms of the eligibility, you had mentioned that the preference would be a Tanzanian organization. Also, just in if it comes to a consortium, will it affect the standing if the consortium does not include a Tanzanian organization, or would you prefer also the consortium to have a Tanzanian organization? And also, just the second question is, will this also be applicable to private sector, like a profit-making organization? Thank you.
Thanks, Mercy. So to answer your first question, the preference from the Tanzanian Ministry is that it's a Tanzanian organisation. I think, and we support that really. I think having a Tanzanian organisation gives has a better understanding of the Tanzanian market. So if you're having a consortium, ideally one of those partners would be Tanzanian. And then your second question is a private sector organisation, whether that would be eligible, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
So yes, you would be eligible, but you need to bear in mind that all of the assets that you produce will be handed over to the ministry at the end of the project.
Okay, that's noted. Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else have any further questions?
Hello.
Hi.
It's good, Victor again.
Hello.
Well, at the beginning, you said that this session is recorded, this webinar, and that it will be available on our website, or how can we get it?
Yes, it will be. Sorry, carry on.
Pardon. Okay. Plus, I was asking if you can get the PowerPoint slide presentation that we are using. It will be good also for us to understand more.
Yep, that's fine. So we'll put it onto the MECS website, and we'll also kind of either send the PowerPoint presentation to you, or we'll load it on the website as well.
Thank you.
Flora?
Oh, thank you, Jen. I am much more on gender perspective of this assignment. You only mentioned the 10% of the population to be reached out with this message because most of the beneficiaries are women. Do we have that data segregation in the process, or do we have to consider it, or it is within the tender document that you can get the details? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your question, Flora. So yes, in the tender document, we've highlighted a number of kind of sectors that we'd like, or sectors or segments that we'd like addressed, and one of those is specifically women. So information that kind of addresses the needs of women would be kind of very much appreciated. We'd also like to know how you've kind of targeted those women and women's groups. Okay. So if we, there was a question in the chat that says, is it only for non-government organisations or for business as well? I think we've answered that question. So any organisation is eligible. Can the consortium allowed for Tanzanian organisations and those from outside? Albina, I think we've kind of explained that ideally there will be at least one Tanzanian organisation involved in any consortium. And the Tanzanian Clean Cooking Strategy available online. I'll hand that question over to Anna. Anna, I'm not sure whether it's available yet, Anna.
Yes, so the Clean Cooking Strategy is, and I'm just putting a link in the chat, the National Clean Cooking Communication Strategy is not yet available, and that is under development at the moment and expected in August. So yeah, we note that the awareness raising campaign needs to align to that, but as that document isn't out yet, that's something that will be developed during the the research and landscaping phase.
Brilliant, thank you. And I've just put in the chat the email address for the help desk at Delta eSourcing. So it kind of delays things if you send emails through to the MECS email box. So I'd suggest that you get in touch directly with that help desk. If they're not coming back to you, please do feel free to get in touch with MECS and we can prompt them. Another question, are the company limited eligible? So limited companies are eligible, yes. You just have to explain how you're going to address the tender within your application. Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Jason Schumer from Tatedo. Seso. I just want to be clear on the template we are going to fill. We have document for quality. The main document we are going to fill.
Sorry, Mr. Schumer, we can't quite hear you. Could I just ask everyone else to mute their microphones, as I think we're getting some interference.
Yeah.
God Victor, would you mind muting? Thank you. Okay, please, Mr. Schumer, proceed.
Hear me now. Is it clear for you?
Yes, that's much better. Thank you.
Okay. My question is on I just want to be clear on the form we are going to, or template we are going to fill during the tender process. We have the response documents on quality questions and the one for price. Are these the main document we are going to fill during the tendering of this document, of this proposal?
Yeah, so it's both documents. So the price document is related to how you're going to, or your suggestion for how you're going to split the budget. And we've asked that you indicate how it would split between the three different parts of the programme. And then the other response document is your kind of narrative response to the questions that are outlined in the tender. Is that okay?
Do we have, is there any other form we are going to, or other template we are going to fill, or those are enough for filling on this document, on this tender?
So they're just the two documents that you submit. With some of the questions, we're asking for additional information. So I think there's one question that asks you about other programs or awareness campaigns that you've been involved in the past, and we ask for some evidence of that. We ask for information about how you propose to deliver the programme. So all of that will be part of the response document. And then the other document, so the due diligence document, will be kind of submitted at the same time, but that's in its own kind of document with supporting evidence.
And if we've filled the due diligence for other MECS projects before, is it necessary to fill this one?
No. So your due diligence will last for 3 years. If it's been more than 3 years since you've completed due diligence, you will have to do it again. But if it's not at this point in time, we can do that when the 3 years comes up. Okay. So I've noticed
Jane,
we
could I answer?
Yes.
Could I answer several questions in the chat?
Yes, please.
Okay. Is this campaign going to be associated with schools? We had envisaged that this awareness raising campaign was targeted at household electric cooking specifically. So in the tender document, there's information about the segments, the market segments that we suggest that the campaign addresses, but you're perfectly welcome to suggest different ones. But we were envisaging that this was about household electric cooking. However, it would be possible to design a campaign that was generalized about electric cooking and the benefits of electric cooking. It doesn't, that doesn't have to be just aimed at households. It could be about generally moving towards electric cooking across institutions as well. But it wasn't supposed to be targeted at schools, let's say. It's a national high-level awareness raising campaign about electric cooking. So yeah, I hope that helps to answer that question. And then another one was, hopefully we are allowed to work with clean cooking stakeholders like gas pipe sellers and so. You can maybe elaborate on that question, but you can design the national awareness raising campaign however you see appropriate. But the point is the first phase is to do the kind of marketing and landscaping study in order to design a successful campaign. Now, this is electric cooking, not clean cooking in general, not modern cooking in general. It's focused solely on electric cooking. So yeah, I hope that works. And then there was another question, and please feel free to come back to me on these answers if they are not clear, if I haven't understood your question. Are the companies responsible for only provision of health services and not products selling eligible? So I don't quite understand that question. We're looking for somebody to do a landscaping and marketing research, study, how best to market or to explain or to give the message of electric cooking viability to people in Tanzania. So we would expect that that company has, marketing experience and design of campaign experience. So I'm not quite sure I understand the question about health services, but please do elaborate. Have you done this program before on other countries? Can you share what was your experience? Yeah, you'll find all of the experience, the MECS publications, blog posts, etc., on the MECS website. So I'll point you to that for experience of awareness raising, reports on awareness raising, background studies, etc., on electric cooking in Tanzania, but also in other countries. And yeah, the presentation document will all be, as Manny says, we'll be sending an email. So please, anyone come back if I haven't quite understood or answered your question. Or Jane, perhaps you have any other additions or answers?
No, I think that's kind of covered everything. Thanks, Anna. So, okay, we're getting thumbs up from people, so hopefully we've kind of covered all of the questions. But do have a look at the information online at Delta eSourcing. If you have questions about the tender, excuse me, please post them on Delta eSourcing. That platform is there so it's transparent, and any questions that people ask, we answer so that everyone can see them, and hopefully kind of enables everybody to have the same information before they submit any application. But again, if there's any issues to do with accessing the Delta site, the help desk email is in the chat. Please do use that. If you get no response from Delta eSourcing, they are generally quite good, then please do come via MECS, either via Anna or myself or the MECS website, and we'll try and move that along. Anna?
Yes, I just understood one of the questions. So about whether or not you're eligible if you're selling products. So I think the question is about, is it possible to apply if you are an organization which is selling electric cooking appliances? And I believe that there's no issue with that, Jane. But the point is, the National eCooking Awareness Raising Campaign will not be affiliated with a particular company, not be affiliated with a particular appliance. Yeah, it's about e-cooking in general. It's not about advertising a particular appliance or, well, a particular brand is what I'm trying to say. We would expect that it would advertise highly efficient appliances, but it wouldn't highlight a particular brand. It has to be brand agnostic.
Yeah, I think that the aim with this really is that we get organisations that have run successful awareness raising campaigns previously. So we're looking at mainly marketing companies. If you have a consortium that has an organisation that is selling these products, you need to explain how you're going to deliver this national awareness raising campaign for e-cooking, not just for a specific appliance. So it is appliance agnostic, if you like, so supplier agnostic. It is e-cooking appliances, as noted on the tender. Then we'll kind of review your application. I think we might have some new questions as well.
Hands up as well.
Oh, yeah, we have hands up. Thanks, Manny. God, Victor, did you want to ask another question?
You're muted at the moment. God, Victor, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to ask if there's a deadline for clarification prior to the due date of 14th August. Is there also a clarification date? I mean, end date for clarification?
For questions?
Yes, for the questions concerning the tender, if we have any questions, and probably be providing the response to our questions. Now, I was asking if there's a deadline or the end date for clarification concerning the tenders.
Yeah, so we didn't list one this time, but ideally, I think is that the 29th of July is that a weekend? I just kind of forget from the top of my head. So questions that will come in by lunchtime on the Friday will be addressed, and then after that, we're probably unlikely to get time to actually respond to them in time for you to submit in by the deadline.
Thank you.
And we have another hand. Is it Abdul?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to appreciate for your nice thing for that you have initiated. I am a representative from Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation, and have for the past 3 years have initiated our own campaign for influencing on clean cooking. So specifically, also you're promoting electric cooking. So my question is, shall we apply for this tender, have a separate campaign, or we are integrated?
Oh, good question. I can see Anna's confused by that answer, that question as well. I think you've got a body of experience that you can kind of demonstrate with your application. So if it can fit seamlessly into the work that you're doing, if you can show how you've already undertaken that first phase, then we'll kind of review it. And it kind of makes sense, if you like, for you to build on the work that you've already done. But I think you need to kind of have a look at how you've addressed the campaign and how it fits with the terms of our tender. Anna,
Yeah,
did you have...
it's been a national raising awareness campaign regarding clean cooking.
Okay, that sounds great. I mean, we don't want to recreate the wheel. If there's something that's working and you can build on it, then we'll be kind of happy to review your application.
So shall we send our own examples of what we have done so far?
No, so the tender document is about answering those questions. There is one question that asks you to demonstrate how you've done a similar campaign previously, so you would use it to address that question.
Well, that's a very fine one.
Okay, thank you.
Could I just to add, it's great to hear that there's experience of awareness raising campaigns. We do anticipate that raising awareness about electric cooking is quite a kind of particular, there'll be particular messaging, right? Because people have deeply held beliefs that electric cooking is too expensive, for example, yeah. And the new data from the research on the highly efficient appliances, such as electric pressure cooker and induction stove, shows that that's not the case. But that is not the common held view. So just to emphasize that that it is targeted on that electric cooking, the challenge of raising awareness around electric cooking precisely. But it's great to hear that there's experience. Thank you for that question.
Okay, so we've got...
thank you. This is Peter speaking, Jen and Anna. So I'm just curious to understand. We are expecting that the campaign will be run in Swahili, a language for the ease of reach for the Tanzanian community. And I presume during our response, we'll need to highlight the kind of messages we're intending to be sending, etc. And obviously the message I expect it to be in Swahili. So I'm just curious to understand. I mean, if that is that's acceptable to you, because I know you'll probably need someone to translate it for you. Or should we strictly put our messages in English for your understanding? But just a way of recommendation, if you'll manage to, I mean, if you can allow for us to put the messages in Swahili, that will, give much of a clear picture of what to expect for the campaign. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. So I think you've kind of jumped a step ahead, and the intention is that the tender proposal that you kind of submit will outline how you plan to do the work. And when you've undertaken the first phase, that's when you'll talk about what the messaging needs to be. So it's kind of almost like a 3-phase. You undertake your first scoping piece, and then you talk about we need an indicative cost of how much it will be for you to then deliver the other 2 phases.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Yes, Anna, go on.
Sorry, Peter. You could. I was going to say that Yeah, absolutely. We would expect that the campaign be delivered in Swahili, and possibly some English. But that's for the, as James said, the first stage is to figure out is to do the studies or the review, the reviews, the landscaping, the marketing research in order to design the campaign. You don't have to reply to the tender in your proposal saying what those messages are going to be, because we expect that would take some time to figure out. Yeah. So, but Jane, I can't remember if we've written down whether or not there has to be a translation of the materials at some point.
No, that's not explicit in there. But we'll be working with kind of Tanzanians, we'll be working with the ministry, and they'll be very much involved in this campaign. So if Swahili is the desired language or predominant language, but I think Anna is right, we would expect that there will be some messaging that will be in English too, then that's kind of fine, because it has to speak to the Tanzanian audience.
Yeah, so the whole point is that it is designed in such a way that it gets maximum awareness raising. So if that is Swahili, great. If that is, depending on what platform, is it social media, is it billboards, is it radio, is it TV, whatever, that's something to be designed and to be worked out in the first phase of the work. Yeah, you don't need to know that right now, but you need to outline in the proposal how you will go about doing the work. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Jane. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'm kind of mindful that we're coming close to time. We've got a couple of hands up. God Victor, is that a legacy hand? And if it is, would you mind lowering it, please? And then I can see who else is still in there.
Well, my question is already answered, so
brilliant.
We are
Thank
done
you.
about that, yes. Thank you.
Okay, so then we've got Abdul Gahafal. Apologies if I've... do you still have a question?
No.
No? Okay. Okay, that's great. And finally, Peter, you just raised your hand again.
No, I think I'm okay if it's me.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a different Peter.
Oh,
Peter,
okay.
you're muted at the moment. Peter Legender.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I'm Peter from Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation. Yeah, my first question, I want to know, after
Peter,
winning the tender, the campaign ran for how long?
that's for you to kind of indicate in your proposal. So we haven't said how long we expect each of the different stages to last. So we're kind of expecting you as the experts in this field to tell us how long it's going to take you to do the scoping study or the marketing awareness, how long it will take you to design those assets, and then how long it will take you to roll out the awareness campaign.
Okay.
But the
additional question to that.
Okay.
The fund, I want to know the fund will be guided by the time of the campaign, or the amount is constant?
Sorry, I didn't quite understand your question.
I want to know, I saw the amount of fund that you are going to fund the win of the tender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what I want to know is there is constant amount on that will not exceed that amount you saw. But I want to know if the amount will be guided by the time of the campaign or is fixed.
So that the value, the £400,000, is for the 16 months worth of work, and those three elements need to fit within that value.
I think Peter is asking about the disbursement schedule, like.
Oh, okay. So the disbursement schedule, if that's what you're asking about, is by negotiation between us and the kind of successful organization.
The process of applying. I see a link. I saw a link here of the helping desk.
Yes.
Can we use it maybe to ask some questions which is concerning about the contract, the process? Maybe I send it to you and you review it and maybe comment for me to make some correction.
So questions that relate to the tender application should go through the portal. So when you access the portal for the tender information, there's a message center, and then that means that all of those questions are then visible for anybody else that might have a similar question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I hope we've managed to answer quite a lot of people's questions today. The recording of this webinar will go on our website, and there'll also be access to the PowerPoint presentation. I kind of look forward to receiving applications from you. I think it's been great that we've had this amount of interest. Thank you all for attending this morning. Anna, did you have anything that you want to say?
No, all good. Thanks, Jane. Thanks, everybody. It was great to hear your questions.
Right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.